I was raised growing up with this idea that Jews, the lesson of the Nazi Holocaust is that Jews are alone in the world, right? And that the only way Jews can be safe is by having this hyper-militarized ethno-state, right? And that was the key to safety, is like, we're doomed to live by the sword because that's the only way we can keep each other safe. And that's a pretty terrifying idea, right? Like, that's actually a very scary idea. And it was as I grew up and started realizing that actually, and became part of movements and became part of the Palestine Solidarity movement, I was like, I actually feel so much safer in the world knowing that I have alliances across faith, across race, across identity and geography, where we have actually real relationship and we're gonna look out for each other. And the first 4 Trump years were an embodiment of that, where when there were these violent attacks at Jews worshiping in synagogue, Christian and Muslim neighbors would come and stand outside of our synagogue when we were praying. And then we started to do the same outside of the mosque when the Muslim, and showing up at the airport during the Muslim ban, right? Like, and so there is this like reciprocity, and I think that, for Jews over time, there is this sense of, there's no way to trust people around us, right? Like, that's kind of like the main lesson of living in Christian Europe. But there were Jews that lived all in other parts of the world that had a very different story. Like, Jews under Muslim Spain had a very different experience of living amongst cross culture and cross faith. And so I think that, survival in Jewish thinking has often been in this frame of us or them. And I think that that's how we got to the devastating place we are now with Zionism and with Jewish supremacy in the state of Israel, right? And so those of us that understand that, a future of like true enduring safety and a way that Jewish people can thrive only works when Muslims are thriving and when Hindus are thriving and Buddhists and Christians all together. Like, there's no way for Jews to find safety and survival if it means another people is being oppressed and murdered, right? Like, that's not how safety, it doesn't work like that. Like, and I think that there's, these generations of people who have been like raised in this idea, right, of that this is the way that we find safety. And my hope is that the new rising generation of Jews understand something much more complicated and are willing to try new strategies, right, and of how we go about survival.